Chapter 3, Section 3, Parallel Lines and Transversals. The corresponding angles postulate says if two parallel lines are cut by a transversal, then the pairs of corresponding angles are congruent. Today we're talking about transversals that are cutting through parallel lines. The other day we talked about transversals cutting through two lines that were not necessarily parallel. Corresponding angles, it's still going to be the same idea. They're on the same position of one of the lines cut by the transversal as on the other. In this case, though, because two parallel lines are being cut by a transversal, we can say that corresponding angles are congruent. The alternate interior angles theorem says if two parallel lines are cut by a transversal, then the pairs of alternate interior angles are congruent. The consecutive interior angles theorem says that if two parallel lines are cut by a transversal, then the pairs of consecutive interior angles are supplementary. Remember, consecutive interior angles, they are on the same side of the transversal and in between the two lines that are being cut. So if that is happening, then those two angles are supplementary. The alternate exterior angles theorem says if two parallel lines are cut by a transversal, then the pairs of alternate exterior angles are congruent. The perpendicular transversal theorem says if a transversal is perpendicular to one of two parallel lines, then it is perpendicular to the other. So if you have two parallel lines being cut by a transversal, and the transversal is perpendicular to one of the lines, it has to be perpendicular to both of the lines. This first example says that we are given that P is parallel to Q, and they want us to prove that the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 equals 180 degrees. If you notice, angle 1 and angle 2 are both exterior angles, but they are on the same side of the transversal. If you notice, angle 1 does have relationships with angles around angle 2. We always first need to start with what we're given. So P is parallel to Q because it is given to us. Then I'm going to say that angle 1 is congruent to angle 4. If you notice, angle 1 and angle 4 are alternate exterior angles, so I can use the alternate exterior angles theorem to say that they are congruent to each other because my two lines P and Q are parallel. If you notice, angle 4 and angle 2, since we're trying to prove that angle 1 plus angle 2 equals 180, angle 4 and angle 2 form a linear pair. So I can say that angle 4 and angle 2, or angle 2 and angle 4, are supplementary because of the linear pair postulate. Now if I have angle 2 supplementary to angle 4, and I know that angle 4 is congruent to angle 1, I can say that angle 2 and angle 1 and angle 2 are supplementary because of the congruent supplements theorem. If angle 2 is supplementary to angle 4, then it's also going to be supplementary to an angle that is the same measure as angle 4, which I do know that angle 1 is. Because I have angle 1 and angle 2 supplementary to each other, I can add them together and set them equal to 180 because of the definition of supplementary angles. So I have proven that angle 1 plus angle 2 equals 180. Now there are definitely other ways that you could go about this. You could have used that angle 1 and angle 8 were corresponding angles, so you could have been talking about angle 8 the whole time instead of angle 4. There's several different ways that you could have done it, but this is one way, and they're all going to be fairly similar. The next example, we're given that the measure of angle 2 is 110 degrees. It asks us to find each measure and give the postulate or theorem. So if you look at angle 2, we know that it's 110 degrees, and A asks us to find the measure of angle 8. Well, if you notice, angle 2 and angle 8 are a linear pair, So I can say that the angle 8 is 70 degrees because 110 plus 70 gives you 180 because of the linear pair postulate. Now, if you look at angle 1, B is asking us to find the measure of angle 1. I can use any relationship now. I can use angle 2 or angle 8 because I've just found angle 8. If you look at angle 1 and angle 8, they are corresponding angles. So because angle 8 is 70, I can say that angle 1 is 70 because of the corresponding angles postulate. So now I have angle 2, angle 8, and angle 1. If you notice angle 3, first of all, it's going to be a linear pair with angle 1, which we found was 70 degrees. It is also an alternate exterior angle with angle 2, which it's given that it's 110 degrees. So there are two different relationships that we could be using right now. Both of them tell us that angle 3 is 110 degrees. It could be the alternate exterior angles theorem with angle 3 and angle 2, or the linear pair postulate with angle 1 and angle 3. I'm using angle 1 and angle 2 because those are two that I have already found. I know the measure of those angles. Now it's going to be the same idea with angle 4. Remember, I'm given that angle 2 is 110. I know that angle 2 and angle 4 are a linear pair. I also have already found angle 8. Angle 8 and angle 4 are vertical angles. I've also already found angle 1. Angle 1 and angle 4 are alternate exterior angles. So there are several different postulates or theorems that I could use to find angle 4. All of them tell me that angle 4 is 70 degrees. And again, I could have used alternate exterior angle theorem, linear pair postulate, or the vertical angles theorem. The next example says if line AB is parallel to line CD and line AC is parallel to line BD, find the measure of angle 1, the measure of angle 2, and the measure of angle 3. Notice I'm given that that angle is 100 degrees. Angle ABD is 100 degrees. They're asking us to find the measure of angle 1. Well, we know that all of these are parallel, so AB is parallel to CD. Notice that the 100-degree angle and angle 1 are consecutive interior angles. We know that when we have parallel lines and consecutive interior angles, those two angles are supplementary. So 100 plus 80 would give you 180. Because angle 1 and the 100-degree angle are supplementary. Now that you're given angle 1, we're looking at angle 2. The measure of angle 2, if you notice the relationship between angle 2 and the 100-degree angle that we're given, those are alternate interior angles. Because they are alternate interior angles, we know that they are congruent. So the measure of angle 2 is 100 degrees. And then if you look at the measure of angle 3, I'm trying to find a relationship with an angle that I already know. If you notice, angle 1 and angle 3 are corresponding angles. So because the measure of angle 1 is 80 degrees, the measure of angle 3 is 80 degrees. A really quick question is how many angles would measure 100 degrees? We're given the 100-degree angle. We found that angle 2 is 100 degrees. If you think about this, there are actually going to be 8 100-degree angles total. The next example says use properties of parallel lines to find the value of x. We're given that this angle that's vertical to angle 1 is 72 degrees. Because we're given that the angle that is vertical to angle 1, 72 degrees, I could say that angle 1 is 72 degrees because of the vertical angles theorem. When I find that, I know that angle 1 is 72 and the angle x minus 8 degrees, Those two angles are consecutive interior angles. I know that they are supplementary, which means that they add up to 180. So angle 1 is 72 degrees because of the vertical angles postulate. I know that angle 1 and angle x minus 8 degrees are consecutive interior angles. Because the two lines are parallel, they're going to be supplementary. So I can say 72 plus x minus 8 degrees equals 180. I can combine my like terms and subtract from both sides, and I find that x equals 116 degrees. Today's assignment is on page 146, numbers 8 through 30 even, 33 through 34. 33 through 44 all.